we will get started. So our very first speaker is a really good friend of Lady Pedals, someone who's supported us for a long time. This is Ellen. She works for Cycling UK. She's very much a utility cyclist, active travel enthusiast. She describes herself as a timid mountain biker, but I've seen her pictures and she didn't look that timid. And definitely stuff I wouldn't try. And wannabe bikepacker. So yeah, we'd love to welcome Ellen to the stage to chat about her cycling story.
Is that working? Yeah. So I've not planned this out very well, so it's just going to be a random stream of consciousness until you tell me to stop. But yeah, so just kind of my cycling journey, I guess. So I was very fortunate. I did learn to ride a bike as a child. I had a bike. I did cycling proficiency. I failed it twice on my brother's bike. Make of that what you will. I've now gone on to work in the cycling industry, but anyway. So yeah, but I don't remember cycling being a huge part of my childhood. I think cycling started becoming something more important to me when I went to university. So I went to uni down in Leicester. There was a halls of residence. It was quite far away from the campus that I was staying on. You could either pay £300 a month or something like that for a bus pass, or you could cycle. So I borrowed my mum's bike, this one here. I never gave it back to her. And it all kind of started from there, really. So yes, next slide. So then, again, super fortunate, but back in the day before we Brexited, there's something called Erasmus, which is kind of like a exchange to Europe. So I went and did a year in a place called Groningen in the Netherlands, North Netherlands. Really cool place, definitely recommend visiting it. It's kind of like a small student city, and it's the first city in the world to become a kind of cycling city. So that's basically, when they did a study, over 50% of journeys in the city are made by bike. It's that kind of cycling friendly. When you get out of the station, there's like thousands of bikes. It's probably like 5,000 bike stands or something just outside the station. It's insane. So yeah, super accessible for bike, and I think that's when I really started to kind of become a utility cyclist and see kind of cycling as a way to do things. So that's a picture of the halls that I was staying in. This was back in like 2009, 2010. It was a really bad winter that year, a lot of snow, but people just kind of like kept cycling through that, so I wanted to like show those photos. But yeah, those kind of, all the bikes, even with that much snow on, all the students in the residence were just kind of getting them out and getting them and riding to lectures. And even at IKEA, you could borrow, like, if you bought some furniture, you could just borrow a trailer and just ride it home on a bike. So yeah, that was kind of, yeah, my experience over there. So yeah, terrible photo, I hate that photo. Didn't have many photos from this time in my life, so use that one. But yeah, so after that, I kind of moved back to Leicester for a bit. Started working for local council in kind of a sustainable travel programme called Choose How You Move, and I got the opportunity to train as a cycling instructor, so I started doing that as a second job in the evenings and weekends and things like that. And again, that was kind of like a big turning point for me when I started, you know, I was travelling more by bike, but I started to think actually this could be something that I could turn into a job, and kind of, yeah, I wanted to kind of share that with other people. Especially teaching adults to ride, I just found that so rewarding. You know, kids are learning new stuff all the time, but adults, when they get on a bike and start pedaling kind of later in life, it's just amazing to see, so really enjoyed doing that. I was living with housemates at the time who runs a triathlon. They somehow persuaded me to do one. They all had fancy road bikes that, as you can see, is like my mum's bike that I borrowed, but I managed to get around. It wasn't a record time or anything, but yeah, thought I'd include that bit. So yeah, kind of a few years down the line, I moved around a bit and had a few different jobs. I got into kind of sport development, but then kind of 2019, I moved over to Manchester to start working for Cycling UK, which is the job that I still do now. So I work as a cycling development officer for Greater Manchester. It's such a cool job, it's awesome, I really love it. And my favourite part of the job is just the people that I get to work with. A lot of whom are in this room, really cool people. I think anyone who puts so much kind of time out of their busy lives into community cycling is just such an inspiring person. Like, the type of people that you meet is just amazing, and you know, everything going on in Manchester is just fantastic at the moment. I think the event at the weekend, I was gutted that I couldn't make it, but all those kind of things that are going on in Manchester are really kind of an exciting place to be for cycling at the moment. Yeah, I get to lead ride leader courses now, so I've done a few courses like my mountain bike leader and stuff like that with Cycling UK. Yeah, the ride leader course is again one of my favourite parts of the job, because yeah, if you're someone who's kind of putting yourself out there, not just to do cycling for yourself, but you want to take other people on rides and show them how great cycling is, yeah, you get to meet some really cool people on those courses. So, yeah. So yeah, a bit more about my kind of personal cycling at the moment. So this is just during lockdown. I decided I was going to learn bike maintenance and I was going to build a bike, and I bought books on it. And my partner was like, "You're not going to do that." She was like, "You'll have a go at it, and then yeah, it will just end up in the basement." And she was right, it has ended up in the basement. So basically, I dismantled my bike. I stripped all the threads, and then I couldn't put stuff back on again. And I had to take it down to Blackfields, and they had to get some like massive hammer and smack it off. And, yeah. So it's still I still have it one day, you know.
Just shaking her head.
When there's another lockdown, I will get it back out and just break it a bit more. And yeah, mountain biking, bikepacking, stuff like that. I've started getting into over the years, like a bit more, like cycling's always been a mode of travel for me, but over the past few years I've started doing a bit more as kind of something to enjoy and yeah, kind of get out leisure riding. So this is the first time I went bikepacking. This is the Marytown Loop, which is in North Yorkshire. So it's about 50 miles of off-road kind of mountain bike bikepacking. It's my partner on the left, so she bought all the like fancy bags and stuff and strapped onto the bike. I was like, I'm not going to spend all that money on stuff that I don't know if I'll use again. So I just got my like big hiking rucksack and just put everything in that, and I was like, I'm sure it'll be fine. It was not fine. The start is really heavy and really bulky, and like anyone who does a bit of mountain biking and stuff, you know, you need to be quite nimble and be able to move stuff like that. You also need, you know, when you kind of descending on mountain biking terrain, you need kind of a really good like line of vision so you can see what's coming up ahead. I couldn't see anything. the bag just like bulges on the back of my head the whole time. So I did come off, going quite fast down a hill because I couldn't really see where I was going. And the impact of coming off actually like knocked the back wheel off my bike. So it was quite a big force, and I think I did get mild concussion. So I would recommend not wearing a massive bag like that. But I did have a nice time, it didn't put me off, so that's... but yeah, so we took baby kit and we just slept in the woods, and it was such an awesome experience. So even despite all that, I was like, yeah, I really want to do more of this. So yeah, we were like, okay, let's we enjoyed that one little weekend away, let's do something bigger. Let's do the Pennine Bridleway, which is, so it starts in the south of the Peak District, Middleton Top, and it finishes in the Yorkshire Dales. It's part of a bigger route called the Great North Trail. I don't know if anyone's heard of that, but there's a guy that I work with at Cycling UK. He's like a massive ultra distance cyclist stuff. He does all this crazy stuff all the time. And he was like, oh yeah, that's like, even for him it was kind of a massive deal to have done that. So we had no idea what we were getting ourselves into. We definitely threw ourselves into the deep end. But we thought, okay, it's a really nice plan, but how life goes, you know, you don't get around to stuff. So we thought if we do it for charity, then we will end up doing it. So we're raising money for ARC in memory of Pam's nephew who was born sleeping. And yeah, that kind of made us do it because we were like, okay, you know, people have given us some money, we have to do this now. And we set ourselves a date, and when the date rolled around, like looking at the Met Office before we set off, and there's loads of like named storms rolling in. We were like, why did we put all this stuff online saying that we're doing this thing? Everyone's like, we were like, okay, we'll go ahead with it. How bad can it be? Because we, you know, do a bit of riding in the rain, like it can't be that bad. But again, yeah, it was pretty bad. The difference between like going for a bike ride on a Saturday or something and then coming home and drying out, compared to like, yeah, multiple days of just getting wetter and wetter and all your stuff just getting wetter and wetter. So the plan was, I thought we'd be able to ride it in 7 days, don't know how, but we managed about 3 days. We got as far as Hebden Bridge, and then we were like, there's a train back to Manchester. We're going to get that. So yeah, it was a massive learning curve, but we were like, okay, yeah, we do have a limit and we found it. So we got the train home, and that's how we got the train home. Yeah, next slide. So we also thought, because we'd done a bit of mountain biking and stuff, but again, it was like really rugged terrain. We were pushing uphill and we were pushing downhill. We were really going very slow. So we thought we probably need to get our mountain biking skills up to speed a bit more. So then we spent the winter kind of getting out on the trails and kind of enjoying ourselves. And the idea was to go back again in the spring, complete it. So we did. And the weather, the weather forecast was much better this time around. It was, like blue skies forecast all week. So we were like, okay, we'll give ourselves a full week instead of trying to overdo it. And we'll take baby kits because we were like, okay, the forecast's really reliable, we don't need to pretend. So that we lost a bit of weight there and it was a bit easier. It was fantastic. The sunshine made a huge difference. I wouldn't recommend backpacking in the rain. I think I'm a fair weather backpacker, but we had a great time. Again, like my setup wasn't ideal. I didn't quite buy all the fancy bags and stuff. As you can see, I had this time I put a pannier rack on and kind of put all my sleeping kit in a bag and strapped it to the pannier rack. And because my bike's quite small, I couldn't fit all the right water bottles on and stuff. So I got a big bottle of hot size bottle of water. Strapped that onto the top of the bag, it popped. All my sleeping stuff was in that bag. It got completely drenched. Barbara done the same on the back of her bike. One of her bungee cords snapped when we were going down the hill and got stuck to the back wheel. So it was still, we're definitely not pros at this still, but we kind of muddled through and we had an amazing time. And we were like, this is amazing, we want to do this all the time. That was 2 years ago. I've not done anything like it. So that's just how I feel like it. It was awesome and I would recommend it. And this is more kind of like type 2 fun. So last summer we went on, there's a climb that we wanted to do in the Lake District. It took quite a remote valley, so a lot of people take bikes because it cuts off a bit of the walking time. So we were like, we'll just speed things up and take the bikes. But then we packed kind of 2 days of camping gear and all the climbing stuff and all of our food and everything. Those bags were so heavy, so we weren't really cycling any faster than walking back, we were just pushing the bike. So it didn't make things any easier, it just created more fat. And we were just kind of, again, pushing bikes up and downhill. But anyway, got up and did the climb and it was awesome. We had a really good weekend. Again, the forecast was really good. It was supposed to be kind of sunshine all weekend. As we settled down for tea on the second night, just saw these massive purple storm clouds rolling in down the valley. So we we need to get out of here. So we had to kind of pack everything up and rush and kind of jump on the bikes and really slowly kind of make our way back to the car. And we didn't beat the storm, we got completely drenched and rained on. It's massive thunderstorm. So that's the final photo. If you've ever tried sleeping in the back of a Hyundai i10, it's not very comfortable, it's a very small car. And that's kind of how the weekend ended. But again, it was fun, but it was probably type 2 fun. So that's my cycling story.
Appreciate you using that as the final photo. Has anyone got any questions for Ellen? I've got one. Have you got any sort of dream adventures that you want to go on, backpacking-wise, or is that it now?
No, hopefully not it. I think, like with everything, just fitting stuff in, isn't it? But I'd like to do some backpacking up in Scotland. I know you've done some stuff, haven't you, Beth? So I'll have to chat to you about that. But I think something up in Scotland. Again, I think it'll be a bit more faffing with bags to get a different setup to all these chaotic ones before we try something new. But
Question? How does the Erasmus in Groningen influence your current work?
Good question. Not enough, I'd say. I think to say that was 10 years ago, and that's what can be achieved in a city like Groningen, and how far ahead the Netherlands are in the UK. I think, Manchester's making a big difference, but definitely, the infrastructure over there is incredible. Manchester, I think it does help if somewhere's flat. Manchester is quite flat in the centre anyway. So there's so much more that can be done. And when people say, rain and stuff like that, but it rained a hell of a lot over there. So it's kind of no excuses really. I think the UK needs to kind of get up to speed.
From your few lessons learned from your backpacking trips, what would you be your number one bit of advice to a new backpacker?
I think there was times where it was horrible, but I would definitely say just kind of get out and do it, because I think that's something that can put you off. It's just I've not got the right kit, or you know, the right type of bags and stuff like that, but just kind of trial and error, I think, of just kind of get out there and do it, but definitely pack lighter. I'm not very good at packing light, so yeah, leave some stuff at home.
Hi, this one's more about sort of work. I read the report last week about how this study about how actually the most important influence on kids cycling is parents. And I just wondered through the work that you're doing whether you think there's like enough understanding of that. And if we're trying to get kids cycling, there's sort of no point in training them if parents aren't taking them out. So I just wondered what you thought of that.
Yeah, really good question. So one of the programmes that we have called Big Bike Revival, loads of people in this room involved in it, and that's kind of one of the reasons within the Big Bike Revival we try and encourage, which is quite tricky because I think you can end up excluding a lot of kids, but kind of like family orientated events rather than events where kind of kids can turn up on their own, because there's definitely, like you say, a lot of research that you know, even if a child is competent, confident cyclist, if their parent doesn't think, or kind of guardian doesn't think it's safe for them to go out on their own, they kind of won't let them or encourage them to do it. And the parents do have to be a bit bought into, you know, find somewhere suitable for them to store the bike and help them make sure it's constantly kind of like in a roadworthy condition and things like that. So definitely kind of getting whole family units involved where you can, super important. So yeah, I think there's some work trying to be done around bikeability with that to kind of get a bit more parents involved and see the whole picture.
Question? What do you think we can do to encourage Manchester to help cycling become safer for everybody? I've got a capital.
Yeah. Yeah, good question. I think everything that is being doing, but just kind of like amplified. I think stuff's chronically underfunded. I think stuff's kind of taking too long. So I think whether that's the infrastructure itself or kind of all the community projects and programs, I think if you look at how much investment there is, you know, on programs that we work on at Cycling UK, like Big Bike Revival and stuff like that, it's just a drop in the ocean. If you could kind of fund that on a much bigger scale, if it was kind of, you know, not just some parks, but every park had cycling events, not just some schools, but every schools and things like that. Like, I think it really needs that huge, you know, not just pockets of provision here and there, but kind of a much bigger scale.
Thank you so much, Ellen. That was amazing. So big round of applause.